right. So hello. I am Dr. Raquel Daly from the Best Life Abroad podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on Best Life Abroad. Today we will be speaking with Takia and her husband, who relocated to Colombia. So they will share their insights and tell us a little bit about their journey to living their best life abroad. So welcome so much. And husband, I didn't get your name.
My name is Deontay.
Deontay. Okay. And do you pronounce it Takia?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So if you two can tell us a little bit about yourself, what made you even start toying around with the idea of moving abroad and how it all started?
Again, my name is Deontay Howard. We are from Kansas City, Missouri. We've always loved to travel. And like when we got married, 10 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's like we would love to travel. Like that's always something we talked about. And then we had kids and life happened, right? And it was like, well, how will we do what we would love to do?
I mean, technically we were already traveling. We mostly stuck to like road trips and stuff, but we wanted to travel abroad. So we had to figure out how we could do that on our budget with 4 kids. So I came across a world schooling group and I saw that there were people who were actually traveling with their kids. Some people got more kids than us and it was like, how are they doing this? And so I dug into that and I learned that, people are doing this with their kids and they're actually spending less money than they are if they're from the States, then they're saving money. And I was like, we could do this. So that's kind of how we got on the journey of, okay, let's travel full time. Because we just got to Colombia 2 weeks ago. But before that, we were in Mexico for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So we're on the go. I call it slow traveling. I think that's what they call it, where you stay in a place for a few months and then you go to the next place. But yeah, that's kind of how we got that journey.
That is so amazing. So tell us a little bit about how old your kids are, how many kids you have, and then what does this world school mean?
Okay, so we have 4 kids. We have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And world schooling is pretty much where you're homeschooling, unschooling, however you decide to educate your kids, but you're doing it on the go. You're doing it and you are learning through experiences around the world. So yeah, that's pretty much world schooling. And that's what was like, yes, we can do this. Because
it's really just like talking about it and reading about cultures, like actually experiencing those things.
I love it. You're speaking to my soul. Yes. And it is possible with 4 babies. These are babies too. Yes. Okay. So you made the decision. You said, I'm going to do this. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what was your process to actually getting abroad, I guess, to Mexico and then to Colombia.
Of course, like with it being international, you have to get your passport. So of course, at the time, especially with the pandemic and everything going on, we tried to make sure we got far ahead of that and get that taken care of like many months before any time of us getting out and going. The second thing is having a way to produce income while you are abroad, unless you have some like residual income coming in a way. So I work remotely for myself. I do graphic design. I'm an artist and a fashion designer. So as long as I have internet access, then I can work. That's about all I need. I was working for an insurance company before we left, and I looked into seeing if I could do that just kind of as a stable thing. And with the insurance, it was health insurance. Like you have to be licensed, and those licenses, like you have jurisdiction you have to work in. So with us being out of the country, then I couldn't actually do the work anyway. Just because, what's the word? Pretty much people's information privacy. Like just making sure everything's on secure, all that. So I couldn't do it. And I've had my hands in a few things already, and I was just kind of doing them on the side. And then as fate was have it, this guy kind of like go, right?
Yeah.
So in January, I actually got laid off from my job
Mm-hmm.
before we left in March. And I let them know, like, I plan to leave in March. So I feel like that might have had a hand in it. But they gave us like 2 full months prior to us leaving for me to kind of line up things and see how I would go full time with what I do. And actually like push it and say, like, what if I'm putting that time that I was in work into my business, and how would that work? And they got it. It just all lined up and it worked very well.
It really picked up as soon as he got laid off, like, and he focused his attention. It really, really picked up, like, quickly. And so, yeah, that was definitely a blessing, because I was a nervous wreck. It's like, are we still leaving in March?
Yeah.
It's like the one thing we wanted to do was set a goal date, so we wouldn't just say, "Oh yeah, we'll do it one day." Yeah. We'll do it one day. That day never came, but we set a date. Our date was March. It was like exactly a year after we announced it to our friends and our family. It was like, a year from now, we're leaving the country. We just want you guys to know. And so, like, as that year is approaching and he got laid off in January, I was like, yeah, I don't know, but it worked out, and I'm so glad that we went ahead and left anyway. Yeah. Because, like, unless you live it, you really don't know, like, the difference. Like, like I was reading about expats in Mexico, and watching videos and how they were talking about, oh yeah, the cost of living is so much lower. They have a better quality of life. Like, they're not stressed out. And I was like, that sounds good. But then we actually got there, and I was like, oh my God, this is for real. Like, my stress level has gone down drastically. Like, yeah, it's pretty great.
Yes, I love that. And it's amazing too how, like, when you make the decision, it's like things just start aligning. So yeah, that's really, and you gave your family a year. That's good. When my husband and I were moving, we were like, all right, we're out in 2 weeks. So
it's like a job.
Everybody's like, what? Yes, that is so great. Yeah.
I'm sorry if you hear that in the background. We're sitting outside and it's thundering.
You are good. You are living your best life abroad. We want to hear all things. Yes. Yes. So you talked a little bit too about just even like with jurisdiction, and sometimes there are those restrictions, which I think people don't always realize. Like, remote work doesn't mean always that you can work everywhere. You know, like there are some jobs might be remote, but that means remote within the US. That means remote within a specific state, because they're not trying to pay taxes in Mexico. So that's a great point that you bring up too. So you talked a little bit about this already, just kind of like navigating the financial pieces. Beyond that, were there any other like job type transitional things you had to consider? So becoming self-employed in Mexico and then becoming self-employed in Colombia, how was that transition for you?
So it's pretty seamless.
Oh wow!
Because of, maybe, I don't know if it's just because of what I do, but like I said, as long as I have internet, I do art and I sell it on canvas, and I draw on my tablet and I can have it printed on the canvas. And even back in the States, like, that's something that I can ship anywhere in the world. So with us moving, it's still the same thing. I operate the exact same way. It's just now that I'm not working the job, it's like I could put all of my time, like, as far as like marketing and reaching out to potential clients. So my pipeline and client list is much stronger than before. Whereas maybe I was getting like 1 or 2 sales a month, which definitely would not cover us living wise. Now it's like a few sales a week.
Wow, that is huge. Congratulations first, because that is huge.
Thank you.
Really being able to lean into that is really great. So you're both in places where there obviously are other people of color, but as people of color in your specific, so where were you in Mexico, and how was that for you as a person of color? And you mentioned where you are now in Colombia, but how has that transition been as a person of color in those spaces?
So we love it. In Mexico, they were so welcoming. Like, I have never in my life met so many people who are so willing to help you. and be kind to you. Like literally, if we ever had any issues, there was some random person we don't know willing to help us and figure out what we need to figure out. And that was like a big change for us coming from home. Like I had never experienced that before. And just being a person of color, like we walk down the street and we don't feel any insecurities, any threats, because nobody's really worried about it. The only thing we get from people is like, oh, you have a beautiful family. Oh, like your kids are so cute. Like other than that, we love your hair. But other than that, like we have not felt unsafe. Like in either place, in Mexico or in Colombia. And in Mexico, we went to like 6 or 7 different cities that we stayed. Oh, wow. Yeah. So yeah, in all the places, we had the same warmth and welcome from in all the places. So yeah.
Oh, that's really yeah. And
I said we flew into Cancun and stayed there for like a couple of days, and then Playa del Carmen for a little over a week. And then we went to our first list destination, which was Puerto Morelos. And we had planned to stay there for a month. We really, really loved it. So we extended our stay for 2 months. Oh. And like just kind of the welcoming and the hospitality there. There was a party going on in the community that we were in. And it was like, come out and bring your kids. And,
it was a kid's birthday party, and we stayed right there. And they were doing it in the community area, and they saw us like, come on over, bring your kids. It's a food and cake.
Wow. I love it. I mean, just even the fact that you're like, oh, let's try this place. Oh, let's try that place. Let's stay a little bit longer. Love it so much. And, the community piece of it, that is really, really huge because you don't get that everywhere. You don't. It has it been in Colombia too?
We're staying, it's a pretty large city. So it's not as like community oriented. Like the language is still a barrier for us. We don't speak Spanish.
That was going to be my next question. That was it.
We don't speak Spanish. We get by.
Technology.
Yeah, we get by. But so I feel like if we did speak Spanish, it would be a lot better here in this bigger city. When it was in smaller cities, it was like easier. I don't know because it was more close knit. But yeah, it's a little different here. But again, we don't feel unsafe. I don't feel like anybody's been like rude or anything like that. And like when we go to restaurants and stuff, like people are still nice and welcoming. So yeah, that it is a difference, but it's still good.
Yeah. So are y'all planning on learning Spanish?
Yeah, we're slowly but surely learning. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's going that great.
Not having conversations, but
yeah, but
we can pick out some things and be like, okay, I know we're talking about bags and shopping carts. I need the shopping cart. I have a bag.
So you're planning on staying in like Spanish speaking countries then?
We don't know yet. We do like it. I would like to be fluent in Spanish, but it's a lot harder and a little more overwhelming than I intended. But we kind of just go wherever we feel we want to go.
The life. Yes.
So we don't know for sure.
So we made a list of places that on paper seem like they would be nice places to live. Because overall, one of the things like we would love to do is maybe like settle somewhere outside of the U.S. And of course, you can do all the research and everything that you want to, and be like, okay, yeah, this looks like it's a good cost of living, and they say it's safe, and you have this and that. But it's not till you actually can have feet on the ground and be like, okay, yeah, we like it here. Like for us, not just, does it check these boxes? So like we have a list of places that are places we want to go and stay longer term.
Yeah.
And all of them are not Latin countries, right? Even American countries. Like some of them, I know, like Portuguese, still Spanish. Yeah, I say Portugal. Portugal, we got Portuguese and some Spanish around there, but then it's like Thailand, Taiwan, just to name a couple other places.
Yeah. Oh, that is so great. And I mean, I think too, you bring up another great point, which is, you really have to figure out what the fit is for yourself. Like you can think, oh, these are great places, or these are terrible places. Because that was one
Yeah.
when we moved to Germany, I was like, I don't know. I give it a little minute, but like just going through the visa process, they were so rude. I was like, this is not gonna work. But then we got there and they were like the nicest people ever. Like even now, my son is in German immersion because we were like, he needs to be able to speak to them. We plan on visiting them every summer. Like they're still family. We just had a FaceTime with our whole like German family. So it's true. Like you just don't know until you're there sometimes. But even having that flexibility to try it out is amazing.
Yeah.
And how are your kids adjusting to it?
They love it. So I do check up on them often and ask them how they're feeling about moving around and are they ready to go back home? And of course they have like they're a little homesick. Like sometimes they miss family, but for the most part, I was like, well, would you want to go home or stay home? And but most of three, I would say the 3 out of 4 is like, nah, we good. we're actually ready to let when we go into our next destination. I'm like, well, we just got here. Like or a little more, but they like moving. Yeah, they're having fun.
Yeah. Instilling that cultural curiosity. That's great.
Yeah.
And do you have any regrets or is there anything that you wish you would have done differently?
No.
The only thing that I wish is for my art, some of the stuff that I did, like right at the end, I wish I would have thought to know to do before. Because like that just like set us up more fleshly. Like so like one of the main things that I do is like sports illustrations. Mm-hmm. So we're from Kansas City. It's home of the Chiefs. Like the last football game was them versus Cincinnati. And I was like, well, I'm not working. So I got some canvases and I was like, when the game happened, I went to the parking lot. I was like, let me see if I can sell some here. Right. And I sold them all. And I was like, wow.
What?
Like I've had these like pieces I've been trying to sell like on the internet and like I said, move 1 or 2 a month.
Wow.
And, like I go to the game and like walk around the parking lot, like I should have brought more. So like to have been able to know that and then do it some other games.
Yeah, that would have been
nice.
So now you got to plan the time you go home around the game. Just be like, okay, when is there a game? All right, that's when we'll come there. That is great. Okay, so for everyone who's going to be listening, trying to figure out, okay, how do I get started? How do I decide where I'm going to live? How do I decide what might be a good fit for me with family, without family? Is there any advice that you might give?
I would definitely say do your research. Like first figure out what you're looking for. Like what do you want? And then find those places that have those things. Rank them because not every place is going to have everything on your list. Mm-hmm. And then also join Facebook groups of expats in those places and ask questions because that really helped us. Especially in Mexico, that's how I found a lot of the places that we visited was people's like, oh yeah, you should visit here, and for the most part, it worked out. Mm-hmm. And we really enjoyed those places, and we've also connected with people. So definitely do your research and try to find people who are or have been in those places.
I would say, yeah, definitely that, and the more relevant to you, the better. So whether that's some people with family, without family, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're a person of color or not, like because everybody like within those demographics have certain experiences that are specific to those demographics. So.
Mm-hmm. Were there any resources that you used that you found to be helpful? Or maybe like with the kids, figuring out like the world schooling or a place to live?
Yes. So I think World School Central, for world schooling, like there's a lot of people, that's where I got a lot of the information for all these people who are traveling with their kids. Mm-hmm. Definitely check out that Facebook group. Expat, specifically the Black expat groups, in Mexico. I'm also a part of other groups, other places that we're looking forward to, like Panama, Portugal. So like I kind of follow along what's going on, and I keep track of those, even though I'm not there. We don't plan on being there. I don't know when, but but like, yeah, definitely like follow those groups that you're interested in.
You can probably like just Google search
just
like
Google
cost of living
cost
calculator.
of living in those different places. We definitely check those out. Again, it's hard to believe when you're not there until you get there, but
like this right
it definitely helps.
This is full of watermelon, right? You know, already cut up. And like back at home, like the pre-sliced in a container like this, easily about $4. Right? We're in Colombia, so our dollar is like $1, 4,000 pesos. This is 1,800 pesos. So a little more than a quarter.
Okay. All right. So where are y'all so I can come next week?
We're in Medellin. We're a little outside of Medellin, but yeah, the cost of living it helps us because like it was hard for us to make ends meet at home. Like with 4 kids, like I wanted to get them in sports and stuff. Like right now, our kids, our oldest 2, we got them in jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
I wanted to get them in martial arts.
Expensive. I just signed my son up. I just signed my son up. Oh my gosh, I need another job just for him to go to martial arts.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
It's so expensive.
But for here, for 3 months, for both of them, total, it's $150.
Wait.
$25 per person per month.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? That's like a week due.
Right.
Less than a weekly due.
So like it's really we get to give them these experiences because like I said, back home we couldn't afford it.
And it's 5 days.
Yeah, in 5 days. Like you can take them 5 days a week.
Wow. Okay, wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
So that's also another way we're trying to help them incorporate Spanish because, like I said, I want them to be immersed in the culture. And we do homeschool, so we don't put them in public school. So I was like, well, how else can we do that? We need to get them into activities. And jiu-jitsu is what they're doing for the next 3 months.
That's great. That's great. And you touched on it too. So a lot of times the question that I get asked is like, how do you go about budgeting? So figuring out, okay, I want to move to these places. How much money do I need? How much money do I need to move? How much money do I need to have when I get there? And you can scour the internet and you're going to get a million different answers. So what advice would you give for that?
I would say definitely try to set a budget. Also, you have to know yourself because like in Mexico, you can spend a lot of money in Mexico or you can spend a little bit of money in Mexico. It depends on your preferences. We're not like we're not luxury people. We don't really care about that. We care more about the experiences. So we can find things lower costing and our budget's still nice, but again, it just know yourself. Do your research. I would also say stay out of the tourist areas. If you want to save money, stay out of the tourist areas and find places a little outside, like maybe 10 minutes outside of the main tourist areas, and you'll get a way better deal for your money.
And Airbnb is nice if you are
short term.
Yeah, short term. If you're going to be long term and you know you want to be long term somewhere, like a lot of places have like long term rentals. And you can do like a lease for like a year, or sometimes as low as 6 months, but a lot of places like at least a year. Just in comparison, like Kansas City is not that expensive as far as like being in the States, as far as like cost of living amongst the states, right? But like we were paying for a 2-bedroom duplex, $850 a month, and then like our utilities and stuff like that. Roughly, it came up to about like $1,300 a month, depending on what's going on utility wise, and like here, we're getting like 3-bedroom, like
2 bathrooms.
Mexico is one like a swimming pool, like right outside of our area, grill area, and like a hut. Like everywhere has been like $1,100 or less. And
but that's everything.
That's everything.
Because
like
it's
utilities, internet, all of that. And a lot of the places have they're gated and they have security.
Yep.
Wow.
So like while I said we're not luxury, we do get like really good amenities.
Yeah.
And still stay within a pretty decent budget for a family of 6. Like, so our budget is like for cost of living, like 28. But that's because like also like again, it depends on what you want to do. Do you want to get in activities? Do you want to explore? Mm-hmm. But like as far as like
actual just like need for living,
needs for living, it's not that much. Yeah. Like our budget for our Airbnbs is like no more than $1,200, and then
per month.
Yeah, per month. So, and I feel like I said we're a family of 6. So
it's just like you or just you and your significant other. Like there are plenty of places like, man.
I know. We're like, this is a great deal. This is so nice. Oh, there's not enough space. We can't do it.
Like $500 for a month. I'm like
$500. We got all these kids. But yeah, so it really depends on like your needs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But you can get some really good deals, some nice amenities. For way less than the States.
So we have about 5 more minutes. Any final thoughts for anybody who's on the edge that can't quite make the decision to go?
Do it. Just do it. Get over the fear and just do it, because the biggest hurdle is the fear of leaving leaving and going into the unknown. And I promise you, like, it's so much better on the other side. Like when you force yourself to step out of your comfort zone, you can experience so many great opportunities. Like I just feel like opportunities have opened up to us just by leaving our comfort zone, leaving our home. So
definitely do it.
Just do it.
Set a goal.
Set a goal.
Like I don't remember the quote exactly, but pretty much the difference between a dream and a goal is setting a deadline. So like put a date to it. And stick to that. Make it happen.
Yep. Stick to it.
Oh, that is so great. I'm so glad I got to chat with y'all today. So thank you so much for your time. It was so great to hear about your journey abroad, all of the things, so many things I haven't heard before, and with your babies. Yes. It is possible. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So if any of you are interested in moving abroad and need some help taking the leap, I am here to support you on your personal journey. You can go to my website, www.yourbestlifeabroad.com, for more information on how to get started. So thank you both again for joining us today. There is no time like the present to live your best life abroad. So thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your babies with us and your journey.
Thank
you for having us.
Of course, wishing y'all all the best as you continue to travel.